The tobacco industry spends millions of dollars advertising their products towards kids, and they gain billions of dollars in revenue. But I'm here to explain one simple concept. Candy flavors hook kids. Hi, I'm your speaker for today, Noah Chang, and I'll be going over my topic, which is flavored e-cigarettes targeted towards minors. So I've already established my problem, and now I want to dive straight into the statistics that back up my claim. 730,000 high school students vape every day, and 480,000 American lives are lost every year due to tobacco use. And that number is estimated to increase greatly this year because of the COVID-19 pandemic. More on that later. And 82.9% of youth e-cigarette users use flavored products, with over 15,000 flavors to choose from on the market. And sadly, this is estimated to lead to 5.6 million premature deaths from smoking. So now I'm going to explain exactly who hurts and exactly who benefits. So big tobacco, which is another name for the tobacco companies, will continue to gain billions of dollars in revenue from their consumers, whereas on the bottom of the pyramid, youth smokers and poor minority groups will continue to be affected. Youth smokers will develop health issues at a young age, which will impede their mental and physical aspects, and certain minority groups are specifically targeted through advertisements, like African Americans, Hawaiians, and Native Americans. So here's a chart on youth e-cigarette flavor usage. As you see on the bottom, it shows the different types of e-cigarettes, and it's color-coded to show which flavors are the most prevalent. And as you can see, the eye-catching candy-type flavors tend to draw in consumers more. What's more is youth smokers are 5 times more likely to contract COVID-19, and COVID-19 has a higher chance of being fatal for smokers. More on this a little later. People often think that e-cigarettes are less harmful than normal cigarettes, and they tend to be less addictive, but in reality, e-cigarettes contain even more amounts of nicotine. And what exactly is nicotine? Well, here's a quote from Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids. Nicotine is highly addictive and can harm adolescent brain development, particularly parts of the brain responsible for attention, memory, and learning. And what this basically means is, with the more consumption of nicotine, the more your learning gets impeded later on in your life, as well as physical aspects such as less of a lung disease immunity. So here are some previous efforts that have been tried before. Mitch Zeller is a director at the FDA, and he says this quote, "Imagine a world with health-concerned cigarette smokers, especially if a policy goes into effect that takes the nicotine levels down to minimally or non-addictive levels." And in his TED Talk, he argued that the FDA was given the power by Congress to regulate the public health and safety, but if there isn't comprehensive tobacco regulation policies written into law, then it makes the FDA's job of regulating tobacco products much more harder. And a potential solution that Mitch talks about in his TED Talk is if the FDA eventually gains control of all tobacco products, then they could create their own e-cigarettes that don't have any nicotine and don't have any health risks at all. So here are some solutions that other organizations are doing, such as taking legislative action. Nonprofit organizations lobby certain bills at the federal and state legislature, and you may remember hearing a news story about a federal policy going into effect about a flavor ban on tobacco products. However, the vague language in these current regulation bills allow for many loopholes, sadly. Another common tactic by organizations would be spreading the word. Nonprofits often spread information to the public through commercials and PSAs. For example, you might remember watching on TV commercials by The Truth. And these solutions aren't outdated. Even though this problem is still relevant, that doesn't mean that these solutions aren't working. What you could do is submit personal testimonies. Most legislators would agree that the driving force behind a bill comes from the personal stories from the people. When you become passionate about a certain topic, join an organization that lobbies behind bills, and then submit your own personal testimonies through your state capitol's website. Also, another great solution is by spreading the word. You can do this through sign waving events or through just giving a talk to your school or just to your friends. And here's what I've decided to do for my solutionary project. And this is how I try to make a difference in Hawaii. So as I mentioned, the vague language in bills allow for many loopholes. However, there's been an opportunity in my state where I've been working together with the Hawaii Public Health Institute to lobby support behind several bills that do have comprehensive tobacco regulation policies. And if they go into effect, it would greatly impact the state of Hawaii as a whole. And my project is essentially multiple events that lobby support behind these bills. So I've already given a talk at RYLA, which is Rotary Youth Leadership Awards. And it's an event where youth leaders come together and share important topics that they are passionate about. So basically, we were put into groups and I was able to share a presentation on the effects of flavored tobacco products, similar to this presentation. So I also attended 2 sign waving events at the Capitol building in support for menthol to be added back into the bills. So it's a little hard to keep track of all of the hearings going on with the bills, but apparently for one of the hearings, menthol flavoring was striked out of the bill, which causes for a small loophole, but I'm confident that we'll be able to get it back in eventually. Also, I've created a flyer that is specific to COVID-19's effects with smoking combined, and I plan to give this to every legislator in Hawaii through the Public Health Institute. If you remember me talking about the statistics, youth who use e-cigarettes are 5 times more likely to contract COVID-19. That and a bunch of other facts are compiled into this flyer. And finally, just some extra events that I was able to do but wasn't originally in my project. I've written a personal testimony, and I'm trying to get classmates to do the same as well. I've written a letter to the Star Advertiser editor, and it was featured in the Sunday paper. And I was able to get the Marino School president's signature on a sign-on letter, which will be shown at every hearing that the bill gets. Basically, the sign-on letter contains logos from every school that supports this bill, and I was able to get Marino's logo on it recently. Personally, this project was very eye-opening for me because it really showed me the effect that a student could have on something, you know, as large as the state legislature. Students and the public often think that youth who can't vote, their voices mean a little less to adults who can vote, but that isn't the case. Through this project, I really understand now the importance of our voices as students. Even though it might be a little more challenging, I'm glad that I got to meet many other students who were just as passionate about this topic as I was. At the sign waving events, I really enjoyed getting to meet them and hearing their insights. And I know that they'll go off to do great things, and I know that what we've already accomplished will impact Hawaii. But anyways, if you wanted more information on this topic, please go to my website, noahchang.weebly.com. There's much more information there that is available for you. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have any questions, then please feel free to email me at changin22@marinoschool.org. That's it for my presentation. Thank you for watching.